Welcome to Xbox Uncut's weekly podcast. We're back for another week of video game news and entertainment and games we've been playing. And I have the wonderful, amazing, hard-working Steve Rules on the show today. Welcome to the show, Steve.
Thank you, Dustin. Good to be here.
No, thank you, Steve. How's the job going?
Yeah, it's going well. Working hard. Been very busy, so yeah, good to go and do something different.
Yes. Back to video games.
I have to ask Steve, in Britain, is working hard or hardly working a saying? Have you ever heard that?
I have heard it. I wouldn't have said so, though.
Oh, okay. So are you hardly working? Nah, I know you're working hard, doing that overtime, get that money.
Yeah. So I can spend it on games that I probably won't play.
Exactly.
That's the life.
Welcome to the circle of life.
I got Deus Ex on Monday, and I finally started playing it today, and then I didn't get all the way through like the tutorial bit, and then I turned it off.
Oh, God.
3 months from now, you'll start it right back up. Don't worry.
What do you think of the beginning of the tutorial to Deus Ex?
I liked the 12-minute
Recap?
the recap. So that was nice. I wonder if that kind of killed my hype and enthusiasm though to carry on playing. I don't know. I'm sure it'll be good.
Well, welcome to the show, Jason.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
I've talked before I was introduced,
Yeah.
which I usually do because I'm an asshole.
Yeah, you are. Well, nobody denies it. Hopefully, Tim says he's going to be on the show. He's just still at work, so once he gets off, he's going to jump in Skype, and we'll have Tim on the show. And maybe even Nintendad. I don't know. I'm going to try to call him and see if he joins, because I know he said he'll be off at like 6:30, and Tim said about 7. So, and it's 6:04 right now. But we're going to make things happen. Well, we're going to go over the news first, though. We're going to go back old school, because we don't have any letters this week, guys. No letters. So please write us at letters@xboxuncut.com.
It's Wicked's fault.
It's Wicked's fault, yeah. Wicked poisoned the well.
Yes, he did.
By demanding letters,
Wicked.
Wicked poisoned it, yeah. But somebody will write us in. It's because they care. Just not Wicked. Not Wicked. But let's get right into the news with games with gold. Or no, Xbox Live deals with gold. So we have all kinds. Elite Dangerous is down 40% for the deluxe edition. So I know Vern picked that up, and we've been playing a little bit of that, and I upgraded to the Horizon pack. Game's still freaking awesome. They've definitely added a lot to the game. But I don't know. We'll talk about it a little bit. Farming Simulator 15, 67% off. Are you ready, Steve, for Farming Simulator? It's all you, man.
I'm not sure I could handle the farminess of it.
Dusty, Steve isn't German.
Well, look, me and Steve, we'll plow a field, and then I don't know. It's Farming Simulator. We did a review for Farming Simulator once, and we got yelled at on Twitter, or no, on YouTube, for how much of the biggest assholes we were. Because we did nothing but joke the game. Even though Jason's put, how many hours into Farming Simulator? Probably
90.
Like 90 or some odd hours. They weren't happy when we were making fun of it.
Well, the developers.
No, just random
Community.
people, the community. They were very upset that...
That's a hardcore group. Farming Simulator community is a very hardcore group.
Yeah.
They take their farming simulations very seriously.
All right, any noticeable? Payday 2 is down to 60% off.
Stay away. Payday. Just a warning, Payday 2 developers are a bunch of fucking assholes. So, and I will publicly say that because they really are a bunch of fucking assholes. You just have to go look up some of the shit they've done. I mean, that's all you need to do.
All right. Well, Titanfall Deluxe Edition 75% off. I don't know anybody that doesn't already own Titanfall one way or another, especially with EA Access having it. Unravel's 50% off, another EA Access game. I mean, it's just buy EA Access already, people, and you get most of these deals. I don't like. Did y'all pick any games up for the Games of Gold this week or this month?
I didn't. I've got so much ready to play.
Yeah.
I still haven't played the Witcher DLC or finished it.
Yeah, I'm like I started it. I got like did the tour for my house, and then I just never went back to it. Like I don't know. I need to actually.
Dusty, the light from your microphone makes it look like you have a hickey.
Yeah, I know. It's the red light. Yeah,
I know. Thing. It's just hilarious.
But moving on, the Division's DLC gets delayed so Ubisoft can focus on fixing the core game. That's pretty.
That's both a good sign and a bad sign. I mean, it's good that they're prioritizing the game's quality over the DLC, but the fact that it needs fixing and it's been out for like 5 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty bad to finally go, hey, maybe we should fix the game's faults.
So this is what they're doing. Fixing bugs, including those listed in the known issues, as well as many other ones. Making loot drops more relevant to the players. Enemy difficulty and time to kill. Gear sets and weaponry balancing. Solo play experience. Dark zone and PvP balancing. Quality of life additions based on community suggestions. Such as weapon skins no longer taking inventory space. I don't know.
Skins took inventory space?
Yeah. That's
fucking retarded.
I just don't know what can get me back into the Division. I mean...
No, that really isn't anything to get you back in.
I guess the second paid DLC might get me back in, but like this is just fucking making
You know
the
what
game
this
work.
is? This is to fix annoyances of people that are still playing it.
Yeah.
Not really to get people back. Which is fine. They need to appease the people that are still playing the game so they don't lose them. They can work on exactly. They can with DLC they can work on getting people back, but they need to fix the game to keep the people they already have. And by the way, my camera zoomed way too far in on the video.
What?
On the video on Beam, I'm like really fucking zoomed in.
I'll see if I can fix it. See, this is why we wait to the last second to do shit on the show.
Hey, I'm not zoomed in anymore.
Look at that. Bam. It's
Yay.
fixed. All right.
You're not looking at 1/4 of my face.
Yeah. All right. What's next? Call of Duty 2. Storms on the Xbox One backwards compatibility. And this is seeing like a huge improvement over the Xbox 360 version, where the game was using double frame VSync, and it would drop the frame rate down to 30 frames per second for large portions of this game. Well, now it's pretty much running at a solid 60 nonstop through the whole game. So big improvement. And those graphics kind of hold up a little bit. It makes you remember how big of a... Like, I just remember going into, like, Walmart and watching Call of Duty 2 for the first time and, like, being awestruck at how amazing it looked.
Yeah, Call of Duty 2 was actually... Don't worry about fixing. I'm fixing it. That's when you change... When it's just going to go back. Stop.
We'll stop messing with it.
Yeah, I remember going back and Call of Duty 2 looked absolutely amazing. Like D-Day, and I especially remember the I don't. It was the British attacking. It was in the middle. It might have been in the Middle East, but it was pretty damn great. I remember that game was awesome.
Okay. All right, let's move to the next article. The one that people kind of care about. I mean, I know people love Call of Duty, but the big game, Halo 5 Forge, coming to PC on September 8th. So you'll be able to play custom games, and you're going to be able to play Forge mode for free on PC. And the maps you make on Forge will also work on Xbox One. But there's not going to be any cross-play or anything like that. Like, that's not happening. Which leads to the bigger question. Do y'all think you will see that for Halo 6? Not multiplayer, but like co-op, cross-play?
Yeah. Particularly as they got, what's it called, Warzone Firefight now as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it would have to only be Firefight, though. It couldn't be just Halo 5. It couldn't be regular Firefight where you're playing against people.
Yeah. Well, campaign co-op and Firefight co-op, I guess.
Yeah. And then, what's next on the news? Microsoft starts skipping first batch of Xbox Design Lab custom controllers. So, did I say skipping? Shipping first batch of design controllers. So I bought my controller. They charged me like a month ago, which is weird, since they said they wouldn't charge me until it actually shipped. But like, I guess my controller, it says it's going to be in on Tuesday. And on the next podcast, I'll show it off and everything. And we'll be able to see it. But I'm kind of excited to have it. I just wanted a Bluetooth controller, honestly. That's what I've kind of actually been looking forward to. Did you order anything? Or are you getting the Elite controller? Or what are you doing, Steve? What are you doing with this other team?
I'll just use the controller that I get with my Gears console.
It's a pretty controller.
No, wasn't too bothered about Bluetooth, so.
Yeah. No, but the one with your Gears controller will have Bluetooth.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. What I meant, I wasn't sort of desperate to get.
Yeah.
Sort of other one, so I use that one.
But I wanted one for specifically to, excuse me, to hook on either to an iPhone or I might get an Android phone next, just for Minecraft. If I get like a Gear VR and be able to play Minecraft through that using the Windows 10 Minecraft, I think that'd be a cool way of doing it. Especially if they allow, if they finally make it so Minecraft is kind of cross-play on every platform. Like if they finally actually get rid of the Xbox version of Minecraft and have Minecraft for just Windows, for Android, iPhone, because those already play together now. And if you could have those built in with Xbox, PlayStation, and Wii U, like that's like anybody could just play anywhere all the time on a server, But who knows if Sony will allow that,
They won't.
They might. Minecraft is like Minecraft is the juggernaut that it's hard to say no to.
I still don't think they'll do it though. I don't think it's gonna be. I really don't think it's. I don't think crossplay with PS4, Xbox One is gonna happen. If it happens, it's not gonna happen for a very long time.
No, but like Minecraft, like people don't look at Minecraft as a Microsoft title. They look at it as a Mojang title, even though Microsoft owns it. You know what I mean?
But even then, the question Sony's going to be given is, hey, will you let Xbox One players play with PS4 players? And no matter what game, they're going to say no. It doesn't matter if it's Minecraft. It doesn't matter what it is. They are pretty adamant about not allowing it to happen. Like even the Titanfall 2 devs just recently came out and they said they want to do it. And Sony's going to say no.
Yeah.
So.
What do you think, Steve? Are we gonna ever see?
Well, I guess it depends. I think from Sony's point of view, they weren't really expecting Microsoft to turn around and do crossplay and offer all that stuff with them. Especially like perhaps they thought they might just do a PC and then they'd kind of split them. So perhaps maybe they'll, once Sony is sort of satisfied with whatever it is they want, they'll let it happen in the future. I think regardless of whether Sony were actually going to let it happen, I think it was always going to take time because it seems like there hadn't really been much prior conversation to Microsoft saying, oh yeah, we can do it. And Sony were like, oh, okay, that's fine. We'll look at that then.
Yeah.
But
I'm more on the side of,
time.
do you think Minecraft could be the game to push them over? Just because of how much of a phenomenon it is?
I think that because Microsoft own Minecraft, that they're kind of in a sort of an easier position to turn around and say to Sony, well, either let us have crossplay or we just stop supporting it on this platform.
Yeah, because I don't think Nintendo would say no by any chance. Like,
I think the problem is whether or not they'd actually be able to get it running.
I don't think Phil
no, but
Spencer's...
Nintendo.
Not to interrupt you, Jason, but like I think that we used more. You would think that the Wii U's powerful enough to run the Windows 10 version of it. You would hope, because it's meant for it's a phone version of it. It's like if they can get it to run on phones like an iPhone, I would hope they'd be able to pull it off.
The thing is, I guess it depends whether or not they want to replace the current version.
Yeah.
Which, seeing as how they've just put it on Wii U as this version, I would guess they probably won't then go and replace it within like a few months. But I don't know.
Phil Spencer's not the kind of guy to use something like that to go over Sony's head. Like, he's made it pretty clear by his actions that he isn't going to hold a game. He isn't going to go up to Sony and say, hey, if you don't do crossplay, we're going to take Minecraft off of all of your platforms.
Well, no, I don't think they'd ever take it off all the platforms.
Well, I'm just saying that Microsoft isn't, or Phil Spencer doesn't seem like the kind of guy that would ever take that kind of action.
I just see that they could look at the PS4 version and go, hey, look, it's going to work on servers. The PS4 version is also going to have, it'll work on iPhone, Android, the fucking Windows, and it's going to work on Xbox. Like, it's just going to be one version of Minecraft, and they're just going to simplify.
Well, it's not about the simplicity of doing it. I mean, even the Rocket League guy said that if Sony gave the go-ahead, they could have it running in 2 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, the simplicity is already done. The problem isn't the technical level. The problem is the legal level. And
I mean, it's up to Sony to say yes. I'm just curious if Minecraft's a big enough game that it could force Sony's hand.
I don't think it has to do with it being a big game, though. I don't think Sony cares. Like, they don't have to.
No, but Minecraft sells a lot every month on every platform, so it's...
I know, but I don't think they feel that I don't think they feel that you being able to play with other platforms is going to increase those sales for them.
Yeah.
Like, that's the main point. Like, if it was... If going crossplay could make it to where their sales increased heavily, then yeah, but...
I think it would. I think you'd have a lot of parents and stuff buying it also so they could play with their kids.
Well,
because you just kind of bet the amount of people that own it on phone and now on Windows and everything else is just tons and tons of people. But I see where you're coming from.
I mean, if you want to do that, just buy an Xbox One and a PC and what Realms is coming out soon, and you could do that. I mean, the PS4 is really not shown itself to be a very open platform for that kind of stuff, except for you could do the licensing thing just like you can on Xbox with you can buy one copy and 2 consoles can have access, but like you're not going to get something like Play Anywhere on PlayStation or anything like that. So
I don't know, they might, because they just announced that they're doing
Now's different though.
PlayStation Now on PC.
Now's different though. Now is a streaming service they can charge. I
get that, but at least
Play Anywhere is literally going, here is a copy of the game, so you don't have to buy it on PC. Versus, here's a streaming service you can pay us to play last generation's games. I mean,
the one really nice thing about PlayStation Now though is we're going to actually get real PlayStation 4 controller drivers for Windows finally. So people will stop bitching.
It's kind of sad that it took that to even happen.
Yeah.
Still kind of can't work out. I mean, this is my personal taste here, but why you use a PlayStation DualShock 4 over an Xbox controller? But
people like the feel. Well, I mean,
like Dad's for
cheapness.
some reason, Dad actually likes the PlayStation controller and Titanfall over the Xbox. I mean, I guess if you're comparing the standard controllers, but after using the Elite controller for so long...
Yeah, it's hard to now that I have an Elite controller, it's hard to ever go back to like a PlayStation controller. Like, it's not happening.
Although I agree with you, Steve. The standard PlayStation, I can't stand it at all. But,
I think it's just, I mean, DualShock 4 just feels so horrible in comparison. Like not, but as a like the build quality and the battery life. I mean, I understand people can prefer it, but I mean, do they really prefer the battery life?
I mean,
Do they really prefer?
since we're bringing it up anyway, I guess we could say with the PS4 Slim, the new controller that they're doing has the same exact battery as the original PS4 controller, even though that was the top complaint, was that damn battery.
And they've added another light bar.
Yeah.
No, it's the same light bar.
Look, whatever they're doing, I'm gonna call it a secondary light bar.
But it doesn't cost any more energy. But it doesn't matter. Even if it did cost more energy, it's still got the same damn battery. So
Yeah, see, why? See, that's just them being cheap. Like, honestly, there are things that could probably, not that I play my PS4 hugely, but, we get, like, extended warranty over here. It's, like, standard, like, a year, 2 years. If they fixed the Wi-Fi so that it was, like, dual band or whatever it's called, 500 gigahertz, whatever, compared to the shitty one in there, that plus warranty plus a new controller with much better battery. Sony always charge like 60 quid for controllers over here. It's ridiculous. If you put those kind of things together, maybe if the machine was a bit quieter or something, I could probably be tempted to turn around and think to myself, well, okay, maybe it's not worth it, but I'll do it anyway. But it's like, if they haven't really got those things, then it's like, well, yeah, I probably just won't consider it. But I think I could be tempted if it did the right things. But
yeah, I guess we could talk about the PS4 Slim later if we run out of things to talk about.
We're down to the onesie, but let's break out our PlayStation news real quick. Congratulations to PSN for finally getting two-step authentication.
Yeah, actually, you know what?
It's about fucking time.
Clap. I won't clap too much because it probably sounds like shit on the mic. Yeah. But
only took 5 years after they got hacked.
Yeah, they finally did it. They got two-step. It's congratulations, now, Sony.
A word of warning: this does not make you entirely safe, because if someone had hacked your account before two-step happened, they could technically still get access if you don't go in there and turn on two-step. So go turn on two-step and also change your passwords. Do both.
Yeah.
Two-step, and I don't know how they're doing two-step, but if you don't know what two-step is, two-step basically means I go to log in, I put in my password, and then you'll go on your phone and
it'll either send you a text message or you can have an authenticator app, and you can put in the number in your authenticator app and it'll load up.
If you're used to using LastPass, you'll have with two-step, you'll have experience with it. But yeah, go turn on two-step, and if you're an Xbox guy not using two-step, go turn on two-step.
But it was good to see them actually add two-step finally.
Yeah,
after years upon years of people begging for it, they added it.
Yeah, there really was not any excuse for taking this long, though.
No, just like you should be able to change your name by now, but I mean, it's just...
Well, there's an excuse for that.
No, there isn't. I'm not giving them... They've had like fucking 10 years at this point.
I'm not saying an excuse is a good thing.
PSN should have a way to change your fucking username.
I'm not saying an excuse is a good thing, Dusty. I'm just saying they have an excuse, and that's the way they built their database. Your username is literally your identifier.
So you just use it. You have a separate category. You go into the Excel spreadsheet that you have all these people's fucking names in, and you add a group called names. So you stop showing people's like fucking user name, and you just have their fucking nickname.
Well, yeah, that's what they should do. Is they should add names and just have a program that gives everyone a random 24-bit code.
And I'll post Microsoft's balls too. Microsoft should add nicknames to Xbox Live.
Yeah.
Not just changing your username. You should be able to just have a nickname. So that way when people have like, oh, I am the most amazing person, 011578, like you could just be like, yeah, I'm Jim. That's it. Like just Jim.
You can technically do that with your real name, but it's not gonna sew up.
No, I
Like,
know, not. But it would be nice
it's-
if they added nicknames to Xbox Live.
No, I agree. They just got to be careful with it because one of the problems with Steam is, like, you go through your Steam friends list name, and sometimes it's retarded.
Yeah.
Um,
But I'd like nicknames. I think that'd be a nice add-on to Xbox Live.
like if they had nicknames, you know, there's gonna be a lot of people going, "Don't buy COD." You know?
Or no, but people would be
Shit.
trying to message people as Major Nelson or something, and yeah.
Well, the nice thing about nicknames is just make it to where you only see nicknames to people in your circle. I don't care; they can add circles or whatever, but you guys understand what I mean about circle. But the chances of you and another person having the same nickname in a circle is usually pretty small.
Slim, yeah.
So it would be fine for that. Like, I don't mind if there's another 4GT guy out there, as long as he's not in my circle. You know, it doesn't piss me off.
Gonna change if they get nicknames on Xbox. I'm gonna call my game for GT guy.
Yeah, I totally would too. Or no, I'd be Team Vernia. Yeah.
Steve's
Oh,
gonna
yeah,
go
no,
around. You know, the 4GT
no,
was
no.
originally British.
I'm gonna be Beastfire
Tim
Scorpio.
Dog. Yeah.
Beast Fire,
Beast-
Steve rules.
No. Beastfire Neo.
Nia, yeah.
Yeah, Tim would probably decide me if I did that, wouldn't he?
Yeah, maybe. Just a little bit.
Tim would probably laugh his ass off.
Yeah.
Tim would get everybody on his friends list to change their name to it. Just to run around.
Yeah.
Nobody would know who the hell each other were, but
That's the name of the next Xbox, Beast Fire Xbox.
yeah, Beastfire Xbox. That's the next name of the podcast.
I reckon they're gonna call it Beastfire Tim Dog. Like, I
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised if, like, next E3 they have like these big Scorpio videos, and all of a sudden you see Tim. Didn't he say he was like on a diet or something? You know, new Slim Tim
I
up
think
on
Tim
stage,
deserves to be on stage, man.
running
He's-
around like you know. Do you watch the WWE when Shane McMahon was on it, and he would do all like the running around and he'd waving his arm about and stuff? I can imagine Tim being like that. Tim O'Mac.
Tim deserves to be on stage, even for 5 seconds. Circuit du Soleil or whatever they, something. Just get him up there. Circus. I don't know.
Circus Delay. Or now I can't even say it. Fuck.
Whatever. Fuck it. No one likes it anyway. No.
All right. Let's talk about something everybody likes.
Onesies.
Onesies. Steve, are you looking forward to the Xbox One onesie?
No.
No?
Yes.
Have you
I
seen
actually-
it?
Oh no, I've seen it. I'm just not looking forward to it.
Oh,
I have a
okay.
question.
They should have done it a while ago.
I have a question. Of any country to do a onesie in, why the hell would you do it in Australia?
I don't know.
Like Canada. All right, it's cold in Canada. It makes sense. Australia?
Yeah.
I guess it was just done. I guarantee it was a joke. Like someone had to have just. It must have been a. Let's do a onesie. And then apparently Phil didn't even know about it because someone went on Twitter going, "Hey, Phil Spencer, you know about the onesies?" And he had to go. What he tweeted at Aaron Greenberg, and apparently they got a few for a contest for outside of Australia. But it's hilarious.
Mm.
Can't hear you, Dusty. We can't hear the host anymore, people. I'm sorry.
Hello?
I can hear Steve.
I can hear you now. I can't hear Dustin.
I can't hear Dusty either. Yay for technical difficulties. Dusty, it's not that. There's something wrong with it. Check your default recording device on your computer. Make sure Skype didn't change your default recording device either. We have never had this happen. Can't hear you. Is this Skype's way of telling us to stop doing podcasts? Nope. It's gonna be a 2-man podcast. I don't even have show notes. Oh, all the news done. All right, I guess I'm hosting now. Well, Steve, let's talk about the PS4 Slim, because this is an Xbox podcast. What do you think of the Slim?
I mean, it's a slight. I mean, I don't hate it or even dislike it, but it's a slightly odd design.
I kind of find it okay.
Like the problem is the rim that they have, where they kind of embed the disk drive in the USB stuff, really for USBs particularly, really isn't very good for plugging things into. Like from an ergonomic standpoint,
it looks cheap. That rim, that what you're talking about, that insert where everything is, it looks really cheap. Like the mate part, like above and below, looks fine, but that little rim, it reminds me of '90s electronics where they had the glossy, like with one glossy finish on it or something like that, and it looks really cheap. And the way, like, when people zoom in to take pictures, and they take pictures of the cutouts around the ports, and you could see the gaps around the port, and it looks like they just did a really damn cheap job. I mean, I guess it's supposed to be a cheap console, but
yeah, I don't know. I mean, are they actually going to drop the price as well? Because traditionally speaking, you don't like Slims don't usually come with a price drop. Like, I mean, technically speaking, okay, the Xbox One kind of did, but it had been $300 a few times before. I wouldn't have said it was an outright price drop.
yeah.
So, are Sony going to go in at 300, or are they going to stay in at 350 maybe until the summer, or maybe? Well, I guess they can't. Well, they could do 300 for Black Friday, but
If they go
know.
300, the original PS4 is going to have to go 250, because the crazy thing is you got people saying it's going to be $200. If this thing was $200,
those people are high.
Dude, if this thing was $200, it would kill the Neo. The Neo's not nearly powerful enough to beat a fucking $200 PS4.
Well, the thing is that if the PS4 was going to come in at $200, then why didn't the Xbox One S come in at 250 or 200? Like, I don't see why one of them is magically able to drop $150 and the other one isn't.
To be fair, the Xbox One S has the 4K Blu-ray player. But that's still not I still don't think that's an expensive. It's more expensive than what they're doing.
Well, I think
it's not.
If they had the choice of going in at $200 without that drive,
they would have done it. Yeah,
I think that they would have done it. I just think ultimately, sure, they're getting a cost saving. Unquestionably, that's part of the reason why they do it. But there's not going to, these aren't going to come in that cheaply. And also, it doesn't benefit Sony to go in at $200. Like, this thing ridiculously at $350. You know, like you obviously have to make a sort of a decision to keep sales going. You don't hinder them by putting it in at $400 or something. But if they went in at 300, they make bank and they'd probably sell as many. Like at some point, you just get diminishing returns on a price drop like that.
Oh
I really,
yeah,
I really,
like
I really
it.
think, I really don't think that it actually like. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's only desperate for money or anything, but from a pure business perspective, they could just make more money, just dropping
Well,
it
the
down
thing
in
you
the
do,
tiers that they're doing. Like I don't think it would entice that many more people to go in and get one early.
and basically what you're saying to simplify it is, let's say like you're basically flooding the market with your product at a cheaper price than people would pay. You're you're killing your own business. It's like if you're to sell it for $50, you know? Like everyone's gonna have one and no one has a reason to now buy one at a higher price. You
Yeah.
can't flood the market with a cheaper version at such a low price. Yeah, I agree with you. It's gonna be 300 to 350. The original PS4 is probably gonna be down to 300, 250, and the Neo is probably gonna be 400 to $500. Um, like
You know,
this is
I'm still
their
not entirely convinced that Neo's even coming out this year.
I
Like,
don't think so either, but I still think it's going to be announced at the September event, but
yeah.
it's probably going to be early 2017. Um,
Like I understand all the talk, but also I got to be honest, I'm not really. I can't. I don't think it's a good idea for them to do a Slim PSVR and a Neo in the space of what 2 months. I assume Neo's not coming out for a couple of.
let's say 4 months. That's still a lot of
Well,
hardware.
I could, if they did it as March, then 5 months you could stretch to that. But I feel like that's a lot of hardware to put out, and I feel like ultimately the loser there is just going to be PSVR, and I think that's the one that they really don't want to be the loser in that scenario.
That's the thing because we originally were talking about how the Neo was going to kill the PlayStation VR because there's going to be a lot of people that they're going to sit there and go, "Am I going to buy PlayStation VR or am I going to buy a Neo?" And a lot of people are going to go, "I'm going to buy the Neo because I want to play the games I already have at a higher quality." But with the
Yeah.
Slim, not saying it's the same exact people, but it's not going to help.
Yeah.
I could see a lot of people that already own a PS4 wanting to buy a Slim, which I think is crazy. Honestly, I think the normal PS4 is better because the Slim actually takes away the optical out, and doesn't have less USB ports and like I heard it's louder too. I don't some um I don't know. It's crazy, but yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know what they're thinking.
it's a, I just don't think I would do that. I mean, obviously they've got. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they feel like PSVR is going to be limited to the point where it actually what they'll got will sell out. So actually, they might as well sell Neo because it's and then try when it is more readily available, people will go in and perhaps consider getting VR. Like that's very possibly their plan, but I just think it's a bit.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to do anything.
I don't know. I would just have expected them to just wait for Neo, and also I guess it depends how many games are going to be compatible as well. Because if they kind of come up with Neo, and not many games are taking advantage of it, like the power, then that might also.
And then you have the problem with CPU power. Like we still don't know if this is really going to have that big of a bump to the CPU. I know there's still people clinging on to Zen, but I don't see this thing having Zen early 2017 unless it's at a higher premium price. And even then it's not going to be easy. Uh, and this is
Yeah,
we're not even getting into like they increase the price of PlayStation Plus. I mean,
I think yeah. I mean, Microsoft did that when they were going big, so I guess it was inevitable. The way they did it was a bit
oh god.
unnecessary, but
Should we go? Should we tell people how they did that?
why didn't they
Um,
just update like a previous blog post?
they took a month-old um, blog post that was unrelated. The blog post had to do with I think it was PlayStation Plus titles, for last month or something like that. It was some kind of update about PlayStation Plus, but it wasn't really about price or anything. And they took that and they put an update on it, and they said, "Hey, PlayStation prices, it's going up by $10." And it's like, and they didn't make any announcements. Like we didn't find out about it until someone went back and saw it, and it spread. It's really damn shady, and it's amazing that Sony gets away with that kind of shit.
Well, it's just such a strange thing to do. Like, I don't think that people in general will be that. I mean, I've got to be honest. I guess I'm not being funny. It should have been $60. I think from the business perspective of, well, third parties want to get their cut, and the same thing happened with Xbox. Like, I think it was an inevitability at some point, but just the way they did it was just very strange.
It would have been softer if they would have just come out and said it rather than be as shady as they were.
Yeah.
Because now I guarantee there's a ton of people out there that have PlayStation Plus subscriptions that don't know. They're going to get a bill and it's going to be $10 more, and they'll probably never honestly notice until they find out one day. And either they're going to be like, well, whatever, or they're going to be pissed off, which is probably what they're hoping for, is most people will go, well, whatever. I don't know. I know Vern is under the impression that it's probably because of the COD deal. Could be. It could be the COD deal took a lot of money. I don't know.
Well, the way that the Xbox Live increase was, I think Activision talked about them saying, well, if we're giving Microsoft all this business, then, we should get a cut. I mean, ultimately, I suspect that it is down to third parties, everyone, even, probably Square Enix somewhere along the way saying, well, I think third parties probably get a surprising cut on that $60. I wouldn't be surprised if, particularly with Destiny and COD so big, if Activision got maybe, I don't know, $10 of that. Is that a lot? So.
Oh God, that'd be a ton of money.
Yeah, I mean, also I think PS Plus, the games haven't been that great for a while. Like, I don't think that they're terrible, and even if you don't compare them to Xbox, I just think that some of the games they've had recently just really haven't been that good. And the other problem they've had is that some of them haven't run very well. And I think that maybe if anyone was kind of upset that they'd increased the price, that maybe they'd be a bit less upset if they got kind of some better games. For which, I mean, I don't know, maybe they will do that.
I saw people floating around stuff like, oh, they're gonna make they increase the price so they can make PlayStation Now like it's gonna be a basic part of it's gonna be a part of the subscription now. It's like, no. Like, it would be like they literally came out. I don't have the blog post on me exactly, but I think the wording was they did it to improve the service. They didn't specifically come out and go, hey, we're going to offer more or something like that. They just did it in the coy way of saying, hey, we're going to use the money to improve the service. Doesn't mean they're lying, but it's not exactly,
I mean, if they're keeping, say, of that extra $10, maybe they're spreading $3 or $4 between third parties or something, keeping the rest to themselves. That per person a year, that's a sort of a sizable amount of money that they can use to increase it. So I don't think a price increase isn't necessarily a bad thing if they ultimately can give people what they want. I mean, I guess people want more third-party, more AAA games. They want on PS Plus. They want. Well, I'm not really sure anyone legitimately wants Knack on there.
Honestly, I think they did it because they could get away with it, and they did it because it was a sizable way of increasing the revenue and profit. I think that's exactly why they did it. I don't think they did it I don't think they did it to improve services. I don't think they did it to invest more in better games for PlayStation Plus. I think they literally did it because they could get away with it. Not saying that's a bad. If you can get away with it, go ahead. But it wasn't, like you said, it wasn't the fact that they increased the price. It was the way in which they announced the price increase. Like, I still, we have Gold, Xbox Live Gold. I mean, it's nice they give us free games now, but I mean, we pay the damn thing. I mean, just the way it is on console online gaming nowadays. But beyond that, I guess we commented on the PlayStation 4 Plus. Comment on that. I don't know if we mentioned? We might kind of skipped over this piece of news, but I think Dusty did the deals with Gold, but we kind of skipped over games with Gold. Forza Horizon on September 1st. You excited for that at all?
I never played the original, but to be honest, at this point, I'll probably would just leave it. And the demo for 3 is out soon. I do have 3 ordered. I was going to cancel it actually, and perhaps get it for Christmas or something. But maybe if I play the demo, it'll tempt me into keeping the order.
Yeah, and the demo, by the way, is going to be September 12th. It was leaked today, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's a decent month for games with Gold. I mean, I can't say, with Forza 3 around the corner, I guess I'm less interested in Horizon, and I've already got Mirror's Edge. But, I mean, that Earthlock game looks pretty cool. I can't remember, what's the other Xbox One game? I can't remember what it was now.
Can you hear that audio, Steve?
Which audio? I can hear you.
That's so odd. I can hear audio. I'm sorry. What did you ask? I can hear someone
what's
talking.
the second Xbox One game?
Actually, okay, one sec. I did not have it up. I know Mirror's Edge is the other Xbox 360 game.
Yeah.
I have yet to play Mirror's Edge, actually.
You should play it, but don't play Catalyst.
Yeah, I've heard not many people were very happy about that one.
Yeah, I rented it. It's not very good. It's a big shame, really.
I'm trying to figure out what it was. I know it was too. What am I doing? I just got to go to news.xbox.com. I'm an idiot. They always put it up there. Let's see. Earthlock. Oh, and Assassin's Creed Chronicles China.
Oh yeah, I was hoping it was going to be India or Russia because I already played China, but I actually really enjoyed China, so no, I can't really complain too much on that front. For what it is, it's a nice game.
Yeah. Oh my god, this is so annoying. I can still hear someone. I don't know what it is. It's absolutely fucking annoying.
Oh, I haven't got any noise in my background.
I found it. Why are you playing video? Why? Why are you playing? This show has been fantastic so far. I just wanted you to know that. So far, we've lost our host. Can't get anything to run well. But anyway, shit. What else should we talk about? Should we go over releases or?
There's a Quantum Break news.
Yeah.
As Aaron said, that it sold above expectations, but not every game needs a sequel or something, which is disappointing considering that when it comes to their AAA games, they're kind of getting into a habit of not making sequels with them.
Yeah, and it's really
and the thing is that if they did turn around and said, well, you know what, it didn't meet expectations, then I would have thought, well, okay, maybe I can understand a bit more. But the fact that they turned around and said, oh yeah, beat expectations, but we're not making it anymore. It's like, well, Was it Alan Wake, Sunset Overdrive, Rise, now Quantum Break? You know, it's disappointing that.
I wonder how
You know,
much of it has
yeah,
to
yeah.
do with Remedy specifically, though, because it's not exactly like it took them a week to make, or well, I say a week. It's not exactly like it took them 2 to 3 years to make the game. It took them quite a while.
Well, the thing is, Phil talks about how, making no IP is hard, and once you've already kind of established the boundaries of the world, like, a lot of teams kind of take a while for the first one, but then the second one, they can do it in 2.5, depending on the studio, maybe 3 years. Like once you've kind of hit that first one, you also, you can take ideas and content. Like I'm not saying they should recycle stuff, but you can kind of take what didn't make it into the first one and put it into the second one. So, you could have, sort of somewhat of a game and sort of shape. You're not sort of starting from the beginning and sort of trying to define what it is. Like, and I was really hoping that they would do that and they'd be able to get something out quicker, but it seems that they'd really rather just give up on it. So,
Yeah, it's
I
hard
mean,
to like take a damn it, because you really like personally, I want another Quantum Break. I mean, shit, but
yeah. I just I just think it's a shame that like they start all these things and they made sort of Quantum Break, they really kind of pushed the whole, storytelling aspect of it. But if that's the case, but they were only willing to do one, then why did they leave the cliffhanger ending and all other
yeah,
stuff?
exactly.
And it's like, and I really do think that there's nothing wrong with Halo, Forza, and Gears, but I feel like it is pretty obvious that there is an over reliance on those, and that you don't really see. Okay, we get, they're working on Crackdown 3 and KO has done well, and there is other stuff, but like they haven't had like a big new IP, certainly not $60 that's come out and done really well for them. I mean, they're doing more State of Decay, but that costs $20, and there's nothing wrong with that, and already did well at $20 as well. But I feel like they need bigger stuff that they continue with and keep going on. I think is
Yeah,
I think that's a problem for them. I think that they've got rather narrow things, and you look at Scalebound. I mean, does anybody think Scalebound's going to sell? Like, I'm not saying it's going to bomb, but if Quantum Break has sold above expectations, but still not enough to do more, but not enough to get more, then where's Scalebound can hit that? Recall was made in Unity. Perhaps it was cheaper to make, smaller team, but I don't know. It's out in 3 weeks, and I haven't really seen any marketing for that. Like, I don't really understand quite what they're doing with some of these things.
yeah. I'd like to see the big picture they have in the background, because you're right. It's like they rely on Forza and Halo and Gears of War, but you don't see them giving the smaller games a chance. And the games they are making, like Scalebound, it's done by a third party, and there's no guarantee Platinum Games is going to want to do a Scalebound 2, although they can still put it off on another developer. But the chances of them actually taking Scalebound, it's like they're waiting on Scalebound to be a hit like Halo or a game like
Yeah,
Scalebound, and it's like that's not really going to
it,
happen.
I, you got to build it.
Yeah, you got to build it up.
I don't think I don't think one and done's. I actually don't think that they do anything for them. Like these games aren't, as it is, they're not selling consoles, but they're not building them so that they get that return later on.
Yeah,
It's like, and the thing is, I think the Remedy and Scale and Platinum would be very happy to make sequels. Like I think it's kind of their baby, and they'd be happy to do that. And it's like Quantum Break sequel was talked about before it launched by Sam Lake. There was a cliffhanger ending. Scalebound, Cameo said it talked about what he's going to make next, and said, well, if Microsoft want another one, then Sunset Overdrive. They talked about adding sort of co-op in a sequel. I mean, Alan Wake obviously was developed to be sequelized. Rise, they were one that they actually started making a sequel on, but then they got into an IP wrangle over Crytek, and it was cancelled. And it's like one's a shame, two's unfortunate. 3 is the sort of start of a pattern, and then you look at 4 and you just think, well, you know, I'm not saying that Microsoft aren't a business and they shouldn't run things at a profit, but surely the reason that they keep making all these Halos and Gears and Forzas is so that they make money, so that they can just turn around and go, you know what, this didn't make money, but we'll see maybe if the next one in it can. But they don't seem to do that.
Yeah.
And I honestly don't think they're going to get very far if they expect all of these games to sell gangbusters out the gate, unless
They don't
just
take enough risks.
unless they just want to make like a dude bro military shooter. Like I'm not saying that's what Microsoft do, but if they have a specific sales target that they need to make in mind, then they need to make different games. Like,
yeah. Well, it kind of feels like they just sit in a room and go, "Hey, let's make more Gears of War because people love that." It's like, yeah, it's fine, but let's try something new.
Yeah.
Like people can give Sony as much as they want for doing like new one-offs, but they do a lot of new one-offs, even though I think some of them are kind of dull. But at least they do it, and they try to build franchises.
I think Sony kind of builds some of them.
Well, they're kind of falling in the same hole now.
Yeah, but I think that Sony kind of do it in a way where perhaps you expect some of these to be kind of one-offs, whereas Microsoft, they're making these games and they're clearly looking for a big new franchise. But it's like the second that it doesn't hit that big franchise out the gate, they're like, okay, well, we're done. Move on to the next one. So,
that's the way they talk about them too. They talk about how this is going to be a franchise. That's usually the way they talk about these games. They don't talk about the game. They talk about the game as in a franchise, and it's kind of like let's take a first step here. But we could sit here and come up with strange moves they've made all day. I mean, I still think it's kind of strange they haven't bought Playground Games, even though Playground Games have now made them.
I don't think they need to own 2 racing studios, though. I
know, but they've kind of made 3 exclusive racing games for them now. It just seems strange.
And also, I don't think it would add. I mean, well, to be fair, they're an incredibly efficient developer, but
they already work as their base. They already work like they're basically owned by Microsoft. Like they work with Microsoft Game Studios. Like they're technically part of Microsoft Game Studios. They're just not owned by them.
Yeah. The thing is, they don't seem to want to buy anyone. You look at all the studios over the years that have been sold that they've partnered with. I mean, Red Links and Trials.
Iron Galaxy.
Iron Galaxy.
Like they should have bought Iron Galaxy. That.
Well, it was Double Helix who was I mean, I think Phil said to me once before that not all these people want to be owned by a mega corporation. But it's funny they don't. But some of these do end up being owned by like mega corporations.
They might not like being owned by mega corporations, but at some point they're probably going to be bought out by one. So
yeah, and it's like I don't really see it's being owned by Microsoft really that different to being owned by like Electronic Arts or something.
Well, it's like Bungie or Bizarre Creations. They left Microsoft, and what they do, they went straight to another large publisher. Both going actually to Activision.
Well, Microsoft didn't want Bizarre, because they had Turn 10 and Bizarre running out of money. So ultimately, they kind of had 2 choices. It was either shut down there and then, or sort of take the deal they could get to see if they could go. And I think part of the Activision thing was that they were supposed to get the F1 license, and then they never did. For them, but it's like Bizarre would have been interesting because they made they had 2 teams and they had Geometry Wars, and they could have made like interesting sort of arcade, not like Xbox Live arcade games, like like the Club was an arcade game, arcadia thing, and I think they could have done something like that, or maybe something else. But you look at all these studios, they just don't want to acquire people. Like it doesn't really matter who the studio is. They seemingly I mean, they finally acquired one, Mojang, and they've got like 40 people. I mean, they might have hired a few more by now, but there's clearly this idea that actually they just don't want to acquire people. Now, maybe when you look at all the closures they've had, that they just actually acknowledge that they're not very good at running them or something, which I think is hugely possible, so they don't want to waste money on it. But that's also kind of a shame in itself, really.
Yeah, no, it really is, and it's kind of why I always say I wish we could get a background look, because there's got to be a lot of stuff in the background to, like, I don't think Phil Spencer's a bad guy. I don't think a lot of these guys are bad guys, but I don't think them being a good or bad guy is really what matters here. Um, it's like, if it, it's hard to explain, because it's like you look at what they did, like, what was it, a year or so ago, when they came out and they talked about how they got new guys. One guy was in charge of their UK efforts, one guy was in charge of their game studios in the United States, and they were going to have all this going, and they were going to have all this pumped up. And this was before Fable Legends. Fable Legends got canceled. Like, it seemed like they were actually trying. They were trying to get management going and the wheels turning. And it seems like the second it's almost like they sent these guys and the guys came back with a report card and they weren't very happy about it.
Yeah.
It was.
It's I don't know. The thing is, I think Phil Spencer is really good for Xbox, and it's like, and his games kind of get that, but like the way that first party has been on him, it doesn't really make sense to me. Like, I don't understand why, because it's clear that they want control. Like, they want control over the games, the IPs, and that sort of thing. Well, if you own the studio, then you have that ultimate control. Like, I don't see the point in them owning Quantum Break and Scalebound and Recall if they're just gonna make one of them, and then just not bother again. Like, does he really get any value from Quantum Break sitting
In his IP
deep
catalog?
in a? I have this idea that, like, him and Yoshida and well, I guess Miyamoto or I guess Iwata, rest in peace. Like, have these like vaults deep in their offices, and there's just like IPs just sat in there dormant. It's like, it's like I really felt that, like, them putting Quantum Break on Steam. I hoped it wasn't just, oh shit, well, we spent a lot of money on this, we want to make our money back. It was, well, shit, we can put this on Steam. Ultimately, we can make, it's probably not free money, but it's certainly not. I bet they probably didn't spend huge amounts on it, so that, oh hey, we can build this user base and then we can go again. Like, that was kind of what I hoped they were going to do. Like, it kind of rubs me the wrong way that ultimately they just want to make a bit more money.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, there's no like, there's no idea. And just like, the thing is, Quantum Break just wasn't supported. Like, there was no DLC. The only reason they supported it ultimately was to fix the bugs in the broken Windows 10 version. Like, that's it. If they said, we're going to release an extra chapter, spoiler alert, some stuff with Beth, they'll resolve that, and any other stuff. You know what? At least, okay, it might not be how I was be wholly thrilled about it, but at least they could kind of tie things up again. Release like a horde mode thing. It doesn't need to have online co-op or anything, but like a time attack thing where you go up against enemies and get scores and that sort of thing. But they just didn't support it at all. And it's like, well, what value do you get from this? I'm pretty unhappy, because it's a really good game, but they didn't support it. It's like, I feel like everyone does games as service for the games that I actually just don't really care about. But I just think that people kind of expect that service now. Like, I don't think that there is a market in 2016 for a one and done. Like, and I don't mean sort of as an IP, but like, you launch your game and you're done with it. Like, I honestly just I don't think consumers are interested in it. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
Remedy said that the game had one delay, which was from Holiday 15 to early 16, which I can kind of believe. And I don't really like to get into this idea of, you can't trust all these people. And okay, I appreciate there's a certain amount of PR involved, but I'm not cynical enough to think people are just going to lie. But it's like, well, there's people kind of knew what the market was doing, and Alan Wake had DLC, and I just don't really understand what the thought process was behind any of it. Like, I don't think that, okay, it dropped out the charts pretty quickly. Well, I don't think they really did enough to keep it in the charts. It's
I
like
don't
from
even.
Microsoft's point of view, like
Yeah. Well, the problem is that Quantum Break's not the type of game Microsoft likes. They like multiplayer. That's really their stick. It really is. If it's not multiplayer, they really don't give it a light of the day. Or
why didn't they bundle it? Why didn't they bundle it last year or something? I don't.
Well, they bundled it to get copies out there. I guess they bundled it because it
Yeah.
was a game they could bundle. There you go. That's probably it. I mean,
But it's like their holiday bundle last year had like Rare Replay, Ori, and Gears, which is a decent bundle. But it's like they have this opportunity as a platform holder to bundle games. Like I appreciate that they almost don't want to create what's the word? They don't want to kind of force a user base. But
yeah.
you don't have to view it as forcing user base. You can look at it as you're building something because Sunset Overdrive. I mean, I don't really know what they were expecting with that game. But you look at its style. You look at the release date. I mean, the October release date was just horrendous. Like it was ridiculous. But okay. They sold like 120 copies or 120,000 copies opening MPD. You think to yourselves, well, why do you not look at that game and think that is probably what you're going to get? In which case, if that's probably what you're going to get, then either you kind of back it for the long haul, you do a lot of bundles. They could have made it the holiday bundle that year instead of Assassin's Creed. I don't know if that would have been a good move for them, but they could have done. But instead, they just released it. I mean, they released two of the best DLCs I've ever played, and then they're not interested anymore. And I mean, Insomniac are making Spider-Man, and I bet they're thrilled with that, so fair enough. But I don't know. I don't understand.
I feel like they didn't.
The plan is here.
I feel like they didn't continue with that because they knew they were going to do Crackdown. But that's why I keep saying I'd love to know what's going on in the background because it could be something as simple as that. It could be really them going, we could do another Sunset Overdrive, or we could just wait for Crackdown, which is an IP we own, to come out. I kind of feel like Sunset Overdrive kind of got pushed in the same case Rise Son of Rome did. It was an IP they didn't own. It was created by a studio they didn't own. So it was basically just them having a third-party exclusive. And then that was it. I mean, they supported it and they were done with it. And
the
I
thing
guess
is, if owning the IPs was such a problem, though, then why was Phil making all these deals in the first place? That's the thing, is that
I think they were
just
desperate,
focused more
though,
on
dude.
what they owned back then, but they didn't.
I think they were desperate, though, man.
Well,
I think they were in the position where they needed to find studios already working on games that could get them out soon, so they could sell Xboxes. I really think that was it.
But the thing is that I don't think there are any. Like, I don't want to say that they're desperate now, but I don't see how the landscape has significantly changed.
I think it's going to change significantly
like
in the next.
Xbox was in a much better position than in terms of how the 360 was selling. Like, I'm not saying Xbox One's doing badly, but 360 was a position of strength. Pretty much, a lot of the new IPs they put out were selling really well. Like I don't really see how things have changed in that front.
To be fair, they were doing a lot of one-offs on 360 too. I mean, it wasn't exactly like they were making new franchises. Yeah. They were doing the same thing.
Yeah. Well, I think they started off at the beginning. They were sequencing things, and then I think you had something like Too Human, which was something that ultimately was never going to get a sequel because ultimately they would have had to have been choosing between Epic and Silicon Knights, and Silicon Knights were never going to get picked in that scenario. And I mean, what other ones did they do? I mean, Alan Wake. I mean, I think Remedy would have probably made a sequel to that much quicker. Again, but I don't know. I think the problem was that they kind of stopped making like new core games. In terms
I think the problem is that they own a lot of good IPs. They just don't have the studios to take advantage of them. That's really the problem. Like, they should have a Conquer game coming out. Like, they really should. But they don't have a studio to make a Conquer game.
Well, they do still own Rare. This is the other
Yeah,
thing.
but Rare's
that
working
I
on Sea
don't.
of Thieves, which is, like I
Yeah,
said
but this
before,
is
it's
the
a
other thing that
multiplayer
I
game.
this is the other thing I don't understand is that why are all these teams making one game? Like, what? Why? You look at Rare Replay. I mean, you look at Ukulele, right? It looks pretty great, and it's pretty clear that you can do a game like that within a certain budget, and that there's going to be interest in it. And then you think to yourself, well, why have Microsoft, why have Rare not got like another team? Bear in mind that they used to have a second or third team making smaller games. They did Jetpack, they did GoldenEye, which obviously got cancelled. And it's like, well, why are they not still doing that? Like, it seems like, they don't need to make like a Conky game with like a $60 million budget. Like, that would be probably literally the worst idea I've ever heard. Like, it's just not good. You're never going to make money from that.
But
But
you don't need a $60 million Conquer.
exactly, that's what I'm saying. You could make
You
something.
could have a $20 million Conquer.
Well,
I would say
I think
20.
you probably do a pretty decent one in maybe 5 or 10. You have it as a smaller budget game. But it's like, I mean, maybe Rare are doing that, and we just and they're waiting to announce it. In which case,
And there we come back. We come back full circle to. I would love to see what's going on in the background.
Yeah.
It sucks being on the outside here speculating, or even not spec. We're making either educated guesses or it's based on what we know. But it sucks sitting back here trying to figure out what the hell is going on at Microsoft, because some of the moves they make are really damn odd from the outside, and the end result's really damn odd. But we know the people in charge are not idiots. But Jesus, I still feel like all the moves they make are really intended to take it, like, for a fact, Microsoft, if they're going to make an IP, it's going to be multiplayer, and it's going to be heavily dependent on being multiplayer. Like, that's their current thing.
Which kind of makes sense, and the thing is that was always their strength, was that they were always able to get something, and they're able to do pretty well. Like, I really enjoyed Rise's co-op mode. Like, there's plenty of things that I look at and I think, well, I really liked that, but I don't know, like,
there's only so many multiplayer games. Like,
something missing.
Yeah.
Well, there are, yeah, but they just, I don't know.
But that's the thing. The problem with multiplayer games is they require support, which requires people, which requires money. It's not cheap, like you said with Rare.
I don't think they've got much staying power. You look at how Xbox Fitness, how they did that, and then they cancelled it, and then they give everyone refunds. Like, that entire thing was surely a complete therefore waste of time and money. And it's like,
to be fair against that, is that they gave a refund in Xbox credit, so people are going to go out and spend that.
That's true.
And they also, the problem with Fitness is that the licensing for that shit is insanely expensive. And I'm going to guess that it got to the point where the money they were making off of Fitness wasn't paying for the licensing, or it was getting damn close to not paying for the licensing. So they just went ahead and canceled it. I'll put that. I think I'll put that.
The thing is, surely they knew that when they started it.
I see where you're going.
2013.
I think they were going to be bigger than they thought. I think, dude, they were balls deep in Connect at the point. Don Matrick, they really thought Connect was going to be. They thought Connect 2.0 was going to be huge. I mean, it clearly wasn't. I still love my Connect, but it was not the success that I personally think they thought it was going to be. I agree with you on the games, but I think I'll put Fitness in a separate category just because it has extra problems or extra complications. I think
you raise a good point.
I think the games themselves, though, I think they get stuck in a rut of, okay, we need to do a new IP, so we're going to need to do a multiplayer, so it's going to need a lot of support, so it's going to need a whole team, so it's going to need a lot of money. It's like, stop. It's like, just go make a Conquer game for $10 million. Like, you don't need you don't, like you said, I mean, get a small Rare team and go have them make a Conquer game. Don't you don't have to every game doesn't have to be this epic thing. And I think that's a problem too. I think the fact that AA games are gone is pretty stupid.
Well, but I think that they're coming back. Like I think that there's clearly
The
a market
Crew,
for them.
the Crew's
not-
a AA
not-
game.
Well, I think there's like a $20, $30. I mean, the Crew was $60. I think there's a
It wasn't
market.
cheap to make, but it was whether or not it wasn't cheap to make, it's still a AA game. I mean, it's not up to the quality of like a Horizon.
Well, no, but in
but
terms
it's
of
still fun.
budget, that was a AAA game.
That was a
Like,
AAA game in terms of budget, yes.
Yeah, but whereas I think that there is this market, and I think that it is perfectly viable to make something, to hit that $20-$30 mark that will do well.
Well, I've
And
been
you can
saying
sell.
that's something I've been trying to say forever, Steve, is that not every game needs to be $60 damn dollars, Not every game needs to be that damn price. It's like every game has to be $60. Test Drive Unlimited sold its ass off. You want to know why? Because it was $40 when it came out. And that's why it sold its ass off. And it's frustrating to see companies continue to release games they know that aren't going to sell, and they release them for $60 damn dollars. And so they're not going to sell even more. So, but now we've gone off track from Microsoft.
Yeah.
But I wish it kind of was something we could just sit there and blame one thing, I mean, we could technically blame one thing. It's Microsoft's fault. Ultimately, it is their fault. If these games don't turn out well, it was their management. But at the same time, there's a deeper, more complicated thing they need to deal with so they can start getting back. I think they're going to start getting back in the groove late this year, early next year, because, we got, at the end of this year, we got Gears, we got Forza, we got, what else is at the end of this year? Recore. And then beginning next year, we got Halo Wars, we got Sea of Thieves, we got, what else is coming out next year? State of Decay, well, that's at the end of the year. But we also got, you know what I mean, though. We're gonna actually start getting in a good amount of games all year round. The beginning of this year has been really kind of crappy for Microsoft. Not much going on at all. But yeah. Is there anything else you want to talk about, Steve?
No, that's about it.
Any games you play?
I played, as I said, I played Mirror's Edge Catalyst. I really didn't think much of it.
Yeah.
I was really disappointed in it. Like, the story's not very interesting. I mean, the gameplay is kind of fine, but like I'm not against open world. There's just nothing good in the open world.
Yeah, that can be a problem.
So
we call that the No Man's Sky effect. No. No, but really, an open world where there's nothing to really do in an open world is just a wide open space with nothing.
Well, there was things to do. It's just that, in all honesty, it just really wasn't all that.
It wasn't interesting.
It was just completely not very compelling at all. Like, I felt like, and the level design, a lot of it was just, because it is open world, a lot of it was just doing the same things over and over again. And it's like, well, as in going to the same places and stuff. And it's like, well, I don't know. Yeah, it just, ultimately, I just didn't think it was very good.
No, I understand. It's like World of Warcraft. You go to the next town, you do the same quests, you level up. You go to the next town, you do the same quests, you level up. Open world was a huge thing when it first happened. It was like, oh my god, you can walk anywhere. But at a certain point, if they can't keep it compelling, then it just becomes an open world. You got to push yourself through, which is a big problem for a lot of these MMOs.
I think to give it some credit, at least it wasn't one of those games where I could just get on with the story. I didn't, like a lot of games, I think I had this with Mad Max, we kind of had to do stuff to get your car in a certain place, otherwise it was going to be kind of very difficult to sort of continue. But whereas this one, I was able to relatively just sort of go through, and I was able to just finish it. So it kind of had the ability to finish it, had that going for it. But you know, it was really disappointing because the first one was really good, and it was a game I really enjoyed. And I just felt like, I got to be completely honest. I know that Dustin will probably be very upset with me saying this, but I'm not a DICE fan. Like I don't think they made very good games. I think Mirror's Edge one was almost a bit of a fluke. I'm not much of a Battlefield fan.
Hey man, Midtown Madness was great.
Yeah.
You know, DICE made Midtown Madness 3, right?
Yeah, and Rally Sport Challenge.
Yep, that was old DICE though. I don't know if the DICE that existed then is anyway in relation to the current DICE. But yeah, I agree. I never really got into Mirror's Edge. Battlefield's good, but the elements that make Battlefield good are not really the same. Like, it's not really open world or anything. I mean, it is, that is big and everything, but it's, I guess it's kind of what happens when you make so many different types of games. But I guess we should end it there. I mean, we could go over releases real quick, but there isn't much.
There's quite a few. Assetto Corsa comes out, Racing Sim, Resident Evil 4.
I do have to say, I would recommend waiting on Assetto Corsa because I've seen that it has a lot of frame rate drops and a lot of performance problems on both Xbox One and PS4. So I would wait to see if they're going to release a patch to fix it before buying it. But like you said, continue. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah. Was it the Turing Test, which from the guys who made Numa: The Last Breath? This one's like a first-person puzzle game set in space, I think. Attack on Titan: The Final Station, which is from Tiny Build, which is like a pixel art train game. It looks quite fun, actually. Yeah, there's quite a few things, and on the first is Earthlock, which is the Games of Gold. So.
And yeah. Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Complete Edition? I see that on.
Yeah.
And did you bring up Resident Evil 4 HD?
Yeah.
It says that's going to be $20. Okay, cool. And for the Windows 10 guys, World of Warcraft Legion comes out on the 29th. I don't know if I'm going to touch that game. It's going to be $50, so I guess if you want to get your World of Warcraft on, guys. Kind of heard people aren't really happy about it lately. And I just checked in case anyone's interested. The Attack on Titan game currently has a 75 on Metacritic, so that's not too bad. So if you've been wanting an Attack on Titan game, that seems like it pretty good. Although, I mean, it is. I think I've heard that it has performance issues on PS4. So again, it sucks to even have to say that, but maybe wait. See what Digital Foundry has to say, see if they release a patch, fix it. And if it runs like ass, don't buy it.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty much it. I mean, I've just been playing some Forza Horizon 2, and I don't really need to talk about that. It's just a new game, Forza Horizon 2. But it's been great having you back on, Steve.
Yeah. It's good to be on. It's a shame Dustin got dropped and Tim and Van weren't able to join us in Nintendo, but it's been good.
Yeah, it's been a rough little patch, especially this rough little patch that is this podcast. And it's odd because there was no signs we were going to have these technical difficulties. It just happened. So, well, hopefully we can get this stuff fixed for next time. I'm actually going to have to go run to the other room to tell them to stop recording. But, yeah, it was nice talking to you again, Steve. I'm sure all the fans are happy to hear your voice again. And hopefully we get letters next time. And if you guys want to write us a letter, I can't say Steve's going to be on the next podcast to read your letter if you write him, but if you do write Steve a letter, we'll try to go ahead and send it to him. You can write us at Xbox Uncut, or is it letters at xboxuncut.com, I believe is still the address for our letters. And if that doesn't work, just 4gtguy@gmail.com, either one. It's good to go. Or xboxuncut@gmail.com. Hey, you got all these options. Well, we'll see you later, guys. Thanks for listening.
See you guys.